value, because the oil place Hausa government dey want a true tax, and a true tax that they use for run the states.
But what is inside this budget? We see there is going to be room for macroeconomic stability.
As people, it seems as if we not even manage it at all.
Plenty finger pointing don't happen after the elections, especially after this dialogue mark.
It meets the needs of the people, or now the challenge and the way the people then look forward to for a solution.
Where did they bring West Cam into the country? Instead of them paying 0%, they will pay 5% on the value, because the oil place Hausa government dey want a true tax, and a true tax that they use for run the states.
But what is inside this budget? We see there is going to be room for macroeconomic stability.
As people, it seems as if we not even manage it at all.
Plenty finger pointing don't happen after the elections, especially after this dialogue mark.
It meets the needs of the people, or now the challenge and the way the people then look forward to for a solution.
Where did they bring West Cam into the country? Instead of them paying 0%, they will pay 5% on the value, because the oil place Hausa government dey want a true tax, and a true tax that they use for run the states.
But what is inside this budget? We see there is going to be room for macroeconomic stability.
Plenty finger pointing don't happen after the elections, especially after this dialogue mark.
It meets the needs of the people, or the challenge and the way the people then look forward to for a solution.
Where did the bring West come into the country? Instead of them paying 0%, they will pay 5% on the value, because the only place South Sudan they want a two tax, and a two tax that they use for run the states.
But what is inside these budgets, we see there is going to be room for macroeconomic stability.
As people, it seems as if we not even learn at all.
Plenty finger pointing don't happen after the elections, especially after this dialogue mark.
It meets the needs of the people, or the challenge and the way the people then look forward to for a solution.
Where did the bring West come into the country? Instead of them paying 0%, they will pay 5% on the value, because the only place South Sudan they want a two tax, and a two tax that they use for run the states.
But what is inside these budgets, we see there is going to be room for macroeconomic stability.
You are watching Liberty Online TV.
My dad's grave has washed away, and one of my grandma's grave already washed away, and now we lose that part of tradition, you know. This is very strange in my life right now, because before I used to come with my family, my kids, and show them my dad's grave, their grandpa's graves. But now it's not easy because the water has washed everything away.
This is Francis Small, a young man from the small village of Bure on the outskirts of Freetown, the capital of Sierra Leone. He's telling me about the destruction taking place on the beach, all thanks to sand mining.
We used to jog along this coast, you know, to Jono Bay and back. But now it has been destroyed because there are lots of iron rods, dead body bones, stones, fences.
Francis grew up here in Bure, an ecotourism spot that once brimmed with life. Not anymore.
This is totally destruction that is taking place right now. And we've been explaining, writing on newspapers. We're saying our stress out, you know, because this is really stressful. Where you used to go before and you cannot go there again. Where can you show your kids history about your grandpa, your father, you know?
Hi, I am Abdul Samba Brahima, a freelance journalist based in Freetown. I've closely followed and documented accounts of the controversial business of sand mining. Buried Underwater is one of a series of Engage Salon podcasts on this issue. But this particular episode is funded by the Poliza Center. Coming up, we find out what is driving sand mining in this small nation along the coast of West Africa. Who is benefiting from it, and at what cost for the environment? But before we get started properly, let me warn that you may find some of the descriptions in this podcast distressing. Each day, hundreds of thousands of Sierra Leonean youths go dig out sand and load them up in trucks. in exchange for money. These are artisanal miners, men, women, and sometimes children. They spend hours and hours doing backbreaking work, sometimes at great personal risks.
We were here at the beach when one of our colleagues fell from a truck into the holes we have dug. He managed to stand, but he fell and died.
In Sierra Leone, sand mining is a mucky business. Most of it happens illegally, with vested interests believed to be hampering efforts to address the problem. There are scant regulations for protecting the environment, workers' safety, and the livelihoods of affected communities. And fewer entities monitor or document the trade for its environmental impact. But I'm very curious, what is this sand mining business? And why are so many people desperate about it in Sierra Leone and in other parts of the world?
Sand is a fundamental feature of modern society. Like without sand, there would be no concrete, no asphalt, no glass, no electronics. Sands and different derivatives from sands are used in plastics, they're used in cosmetics, in construction, they're used for fracking, they're used for land reclamation, for coastal defenses. It's absolutely everywhere. Because of its importance for infrastructure, it means that as we keep urbanizing and as population grow and demand for industrialization grows as well, sand demand has boomed. And right now, aggregates, which is a term to mean like sand and gravels, they're now the second most used natural resource in the world, second only to water. The UNEP, the United Nations Environmental Program, has estimated that roughly 40 to 50 billion tons per year of sand are actually extracted. And that's, of course, far quicker than the rate at which those resources can naturally replenish. To me, if you only look at sand, as some kind of an aggregate resource for construction, you will be missing some of the important dimensions of equity, or how it even is very much the foundation of modern society, simply as that. So if you take only a narrow lens on that, you will miss the diversity of ways in which sand underpin local livelihoods, as well as the benefits that it provides as a natural buffer, for instance, or as a foundation for marine ecosystem.
Hello viewers, good evening and welcome to another episode of the program Wan On Wan, where they come to you from the Liberty Online TV Facebook and also na YouTube. Well, so today I welcome you to this edition of the Wan On Wan program. The voice day we just hear na a colleague journalist where they do investigation on story that we get for the climate change on the environment, and this one we just listen to na the one we get for do with sand mining. Also it do a podcast where the Pulitzer Center na the US been support them in collaboration with Engage Salon for let them put together this podcast. We talk about real stories them about how people they damage the environment through sand mining when they do, and also how this activity they hamburg the tourism sector. Well, at the studio this evening, I want to welcome Abdul Samba Brahma, an investigative journalist with me at the studio. Good morning and welcome. Sorry. Good evening and welcome to the Wan On Wan program.
Thank you very much indeed, Khadija. Glad for there.
All right, if you don't watch we Wan On Wan program, na a program where we do for extend some of the discussions that we can get na the Liberty Breakfast Show. And this morning we do the theme climate change and the environment. Also we lay special focus on sand mining as now one of the things them where they threaten the environment. And that podcast we just watched, now one of the thing them when an example of the bad thing that way they happen to the environment. Samba, let's start for talk about some of the things that we discover, because the podcast now about 25 minutes, we're not able for play all, for make we viewers them go see some of the things that we did. But the first one we catch me on attention, and that possibility talk say be used for going to the beach within family, but it don't stop now because now you dey even see the body them where the water they bring come na the beaches them, and we mean see now a problem for the tourism sector. Aside that, what are the emerging things them what you discovered at this investigation?
I think just taking the cue from Francis Small Nabure, the guy we're inside the podcast. I think this actually they indicate to we say even the dead are not spared from sand mining. They should be resting in peace and not in pieces. But because sand mining they take place in one location, it's just natural that where you pull sand common sand from other side nearby, they come naturally for replace the one we don't pull. So here, people in Nabure, not the mine sand, but their neighbor, na Jonube, they mine sand. So what thing happen is that the sand na Nabure, they wash go down na Jonube for fill up the one where they pull na Jonube. And what does this mean? So it means that when the water level they rise, the sea level they rise, it wash away the graves already near where actually near the sea, it wash away all them graves and then expose human beings. You know, people away down lost them family members. Come down at the beach and they see family members, them bones, other things. It's very disturbing. Psychologically, it's not proper. It's so disturbing. Talk less about the impact of that on tourism. But it also means, say, even businesses, you know, tourist businesses where they along that coast, then they're at risk. Because every time we pull sand, the water level will continue for rise. And they wash away the business structures them, where they mean, say, people away their livelihoods depend on them businesses, and they're not forgetting for survive. They're not for look for something else for survive. You understand?
Talking about livelihood, when you talk to some of them people there, so where they into sand mining, especially the youth them, then go tell you say job not there. Now how we they get with livelihood? Now how they able for pull sand go sell them and get steal them for we self and for we family them. Is it the right approach? Because work not they you for damage the environment.
Well, obviously the answer is no, right? The question is that at what cost you do this? If you get short-term gain, you get food for today, you get food for tomorrow, and then you get a destruction which will last you how many years? Probably even you self with the drum, your life go left, or you begin go down the beach, you go mass some outside pieces and Sunday, you left in water, or your business structure and the sea washed away, your community they at risk. Short-term gain for long-term destruction, which one you go take? Right? So yes, I agree with the survival dilemma. It's a dilemma now because you get for survive at which cost? At the cost of the environment. But if you take the survival and you left the survival, the livelihood, the daily bread issue, and then you left the destruction of the environment, so you get to come back at you with a massive destruction at a scale we not able to manage. Which one go make more sense? So to me, I think one go make more sense than the fact say, I'm not saying we will not do sand mining. But I think that, again, the blame no need for be placed on the one way they drum because they need for survive. The blame need for be channeled up there. You know, we need for mine sand because we need for survive. But now we drum in A, B, C, and D. And now put these structures in place for make sure say they want to separate the drum, them protected, the environments them protected. And we the leaders them where if the disaster occur, we go for spend resources and other things for take care of that disaster. We're not going to invest that much. We're going to manage them in a manner where cost we country too much.
Talking about structures, waiting at some of them structures there, we think say the authority they would in charge for put in place. One, for protect the environment. Two, for even protect the people them where they into their activity there.
I think the first thing we don't do as a country, where for me I think it's nice, now the fact that we don't get bodies, institutions in place. We get EPA, the Environment Protection Agency. We get the National Disaster Management Agency. We get the environment, the new Environment Ministry. We get Ministry of Lands. We get Tourist Board. We get all the structures that they in place already. But we're waiting lacking now the coordination within the structures and the leadership. For example, one thing I find out strongly that the fact say, I don't think they will get one strong institution among all them institutions I don't call when they take the leadership on sand mining. So if something go wrong, that this institution will blame. That this institution will point and in fact, what we find out is that sand mining is being regulated by the Western Area Rural District Council. And then who are they monitor the council? I don't know. So you
get the local government ministry
you
and community affairs.
All of them structures in there. But the reality on the ground, they tell you say that if something go wrong there, Ministry of Environment, they say, not to me, they monitor this. EPA, they say, it's not to me, they handle this. So who takes responsibility? So I think that the show that with level of seriousness about this, is not the right up there yet. And we need to make sure it's right up there now. Because the matter are urgent and serious matter.
Listening to a podcast, they find out say this na collaborative effort. Even the local leaders themselves, na the communities them, they involve into their activities there. So, and not just the one that we get trucks where they go pull this and sand there. Now, even the young people themselves, then they go bags them na the beach. You come na Lumley Beach, Aberdeen Beach, all of them things they happen there. Also need for be tackled immediately. Is it from the local leaders, from the youth, or the community people themselves need for take ownership? Say this now we environment, no allow them spoil.
I think yes, everybody can play a own part in this, and if you left them in the hands of the community for take leadership, it's not going to happen. Why? Because they are desperate to survive. The local chiefs are making money. The local structures within the rural districts and all of these places, they're just collecting the money. What are they doing with the money? We don't know, right? So for me, government pass everything. Leadership at government's level, at national level, you pass everything. When they say coffee, what are they going to do? Nobody. So that's where we have to start from. We need for sure that this is not a serious problem and urgent, and by being very deliberate about it, and making sure that all the key players them were involved in sand mining, the miners, the local leaders, the district councils, and every other sector were involved in this, get them to the table and tell them, do this, and this, and make sure it's done. Make sure it's done.
But outside collaboration no day, central command no day, how this go happen?
Well, that's the problem. Why collaboration not for day? Why central command not for day? Why somebody not for be held accountable?
Too much.
If things happen.
Too much institution doing nothing.
And so you wasting at the from that is that we're wasting energy and resources on institutions we're supposed to do things we're not to do. And that's where we need to scrap some of these things and make sure that if this institution are responsible for handling the sand mining sector, let them take the leadership, let them take the blame. And not shift the blame only on the community and the one with the drum, because they can't institute laws for themselves. We only fix bylaws, and bylaws not going to address the problem of sand mining what they experience now. It may happen first them small, and they happen at a scale where you're not getting no much effect on it. So yeah, bylaws can work during the internet, but now communities then they wipe away, businesses then they go, graves then they disappear. Right? So you don't get that scale, not a community level anymore, a national level now.
Samba, with all that is happening, this podcast expose a lot of dangers when they happen to the environment, and we serve as Liberty Online TV. We produce up is the Spears Bingo working at the Banga Farm community and I don't care. Counts footages we really damaging or they show threats to the environment. Yet we leaders them, they na the COP28 now na Dubai, they make a case for Salon, they talk about climate action, they talk about how government prioritize the issues of climate change. With all that is happening to the environment here, you think say we two leaders they can go talk at the international conferences there, so now a reflection of the reality on ground?
I think being represented at the COP, it's a very important thing for we, because if we not get representation at COP, we don't get a real voice. We need to be represented. But equally so, we need to be realistic about the reality on the ground. Whilst we go there for showcase between what to do at national level for respond to the climate dilemma, to the climate challenge, right? We also need to be able to talk about the challenges already on the ground and the gaps where they exist and how we intend to address them gaps them. So to me, now the missing link of that, we get so many gaps, we get so many challenges right now, urgent ones, beyond sand mining. There's fossil fuel. People they burn coal every single day. People they cut stick every single day. Every single day. Go to the peninsula and see the devastating level of deforestation where they take place for construction of houses. All right. So all over the place we get climate challenges written all around we, but we see less action, unfortunately. And if we not take action now, I think we'll go for find ourselves in a scenario where the aftermath of a climate crisis, it will be devastating for me to handle. So that's where we're missing the narrative in then international conferences, and we go more for showcase the few things we don't do and try to get access to resources. And yes, we get access to resources. What are we doing on the ground? And I think we need to translate them words then into proper action.
We don't see country there with bigger economy, for example, Morocco, and other one them the bad thing that we happened to them recently as an outcome of the climate change where the world is suffering now. Looking at Salon, how deprived we are as a country, we economy they do well, lots of challenges then they out there. If we not brace up ourselves and do things then we go protect the environment and not take we to a place where disaster can happen. What would they head for?
Again, I don't want for sound sinister. I don't want for sound like there's no hope. But I think we will head for crisis where go difficult for manage. Look, Libya, flooding occurred. Look, it's not like we not experience natural disasters. We don't experience flooding almost everywhere in season they see, and a small amount of flooding where they take place, and how difficult it can be for manage that. We don't experience landslide, will lead to the loss of over 1,000 lives, right? But up till now, we still see the small things that will make the natural disasters that they take place. We're not doing anything about them. In fact, what we do now for worsening the scenario, not for worsening the problem. So I think waiting in our hand now like a time bomb where they wait for explode. And unless and until we act, we really act by being deliberate, conscious, deliberate, and take actions, we're heading for disaster.
For talk about climate action or things the way the government they plan for do for tap some of them bad things that already happen to the environment now one. The deliberate we just make mention of now two, and also the seriousness of from a journalist we get evidence then and the podcast, the people that we talk to, a lot of revelation inside that podcast. Are we serious as a nation?
So the question is, me and you, we do your own part as journalists. Raise the alarm. We give the red flag that hey, something is happening here. Be serious about it. This is the effect.
But are they listening?
Exactly. Who is listening to you and I? Who doesn't even take me serious? At the end of the day, they say they never make noise. But this noise is a useful noise because it's informing you about something that you can prevent in the future. And if you don't listen and take action about it, then how serious are you? You know, in a country like Sierra Leone, we're very small. We get so much at our disposal. And I think that sand, now one of the natural resources at our disposal, if we manage them properly, we go able to get benefit from them as a government, as a country, and as individuals. But because we not manage them properly, we not even get structures in place for manage them. Just a few people, they make a lot of money out of them at the expense of the environment, at the expense of human survival, at the expense of communities, and at the expense of just even the animals them. Where they inside the water, the natural habitat of the animals there, we they destroy them. This is the reason why we say fish them they breed, they don't get a chance to breed again. We say turtles they can nest, they don't get a chance to nest again because we don't destroy them. So what's they happen? We don't get fish for it. The one that we rely on fish for livelihoods and education of them, picking and pay school fees and house rent, they don't get money again. So what's the next they do? They don't go to sand mining. Now they the money there. So you don't see the scale of the problem.
Alright, viewers, in case you just tune in, the program where they watch now One on One, and this net I sit down with a colleague journalist where they do investigative journalism into issues them where they affect the environment. And one recent one where it do now a podcast where it titled Buried Under the Waters, where Podlitza Center na the USA and in collaboration with Engage Salon be support them for do this podcast Usai on Earth and talk about the bad things them with sand mining they cause to the environment, and even do them around the peninsular community them Bure, Black Johnson and other one them. Well, if you watch we send we message on 074 500 545 or you can drop your message in the comment section where they talk about climate changes net with a special focus on sand mining. Samba, let we now look at the solutions going forward. Yeah. We don't talk about the problems. The podcast don't show we lots of things them where they happen now as a result of the sand mining where they happen at the coastal communities and also the peninsular community. Going forward, what do you feel say now immediate solutions for stop some of these problems?
So a couple of years ago, another community we been badly affected by sand mining along this coast, na Hamilton. And Hamilton, we get this problem of sand mining. It will happen at a massive scale. So you reach a point, the government look and ping, you say, you know what? Or they put an indefinite ban on sand mining in Hamilton. And right now, the ban there, nobody knows the mine sand na Hamilton. So what does that mean? It means that the sand na where they don't put all commodities na Hamilton, it need a couple of years for make you replenish yourself, for come back. Now natural resource where they replenish yourself, they come back. Alright? But for me, that's not just the beginning of the solution. It is show that if we leaders are serious and deliberate about this, it can be addressed very easily. Put a ban. Start with the ban. Institute laws. Give yourself time. Then ban there go there in place and give yourself time for work on laws where you know that then laws there go actually able to address the problem. And make sure that you get eyes on the ground. Because you can't be here in Freetown and put law within a shelf and you expect people in the villages or the peninsular access so that the sand mining they happen, the destruction they happen, when they not get nothing for do, fish not there again, livelihoods challenge, who said them they do the agriculture, they don't deforest they, everything else don't go, then just go back into the sand mining, especially because they don't know, they're conscious that nobody know they and in the background they monitor them. So for me, it's about proper governance. Again, the word governance is broad. But it's about a governance way accountable to the people. All right? Somebody need for take responsibility for sand mining sector. So many institutions. Which one of them actually supposed to lead on this? You and I don't know as journalists. And we have investigated this. Not because we know and know, because somebody not just to take responsibility. So if something go wrong, now everybody else go begin blame this and that. And that's not showing direction. It's not showing leadership. So we need to be very, 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 very conscious and deliberate about this. And that I continually use conscious and deliberate. Conscious for know that if we not address them now, the destruction will be difficult more handle. Deliberate, we need to tackle them with intention for deal with the problem.
So if you prefer an immediate solution, now ban will be one of them.
I really feel say we need to get a suspension, an indefinite one for now. We go give it time for address, for put concrete plans in place for the long term. We need to stop on now. Why? Because the one the way they do them, not even care. Right? All the thing they care is me pot the boil. I can handle my family. So for address that, stop and force. Why? That will give time for fixed long-term solution. And then the long-term solution need for be collaborative. Get those players involved. Find something for them. If they cannot be part of the solution of addressing the problem, give them an alternative means of livelihood. And that's how you deal with this.
All right, many thanks. Where you joined me at the studio this night. A name na Abdul Samba Brahima, an investigative journalist, where they work around issues them where they do with climate change. The most recent one where they do this BNTM early this year, na the one where it do a podcast where it called Buried Under the Waters. It do with a special focus for on Earth. Bad things that we sand mining the cause to the environment. Well, now then the program One on One for today in edition. Many thanks, Samba. We join with the program from time to time. We want to do issues around climate change. We also get you as a colleague and also an expert on for report on issues that we get for do the environment. It's a pleasure for host you this morning our breakfast show and also this night now we program One on One.
Thank you very much indeed, Khadija.
All right. Well, many thanks to my production team, Emmanuel Malik Campbell, na in Giwi technical support. Princess Pierce na in produce the program One on One for this net. Bina Khadija Bangura, they say have a good night.
As people, it seems as if we don't even learn to talk.
Plenty finger pointing don't happen after the elections, especially after this dialogue back.
It meets the needs of the people, or the challenge and the way the people then look forward to for a solution.
Where did the bring West come into the country? Instead of them paying 0%, they will pay 5% on the value, because the only place South Sudan they want a food tax, and a food tax that they use for run the states.
But what is inside these budgets will assure we see there is going to be room for macroeconomic stability.